We're going to look at the chart for Paul McCartney, singer, songwriter, performing artist, born June 18, 1942. And there's some discrepancy on the time, but it was either 2 o'clock in the evening or 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's been rectified to um, 1:35 in the evening, Liverpool, England. If you were to look at the horizon when he was born, you would see the constellation associated with Leo rising at 27 degrees. This becomes the most effective point of every house. So any planet that's within 5 degrees has some impact. So we're going to look at how the planets are operating and when they're operating. For a Leo, Leos are very creative. They're leaders. He was a leader in the music industry. And when he was born, the root of his tree of life, the nakshatra, the not nakshatra, but the dasha period that he was born in was a Mercury period, so it gave him great ability to communicate in being a performing artist, singer, songwriter, published many songs, sang, acclaimed for lots and lots of music. So we'll look at the planets and how they're operating. Sun is at 3 degrees, and it is ruling the house of life purpose and longevity, and it also affects health and the heart. He gave him great leadership abilities. He does have some health issues and heart issues. He had some surgery in early 2008 during a Rahu period. And you can see Rahu is also in this house of health and longevity. Moon is at 24 degrees. Any planet that rules any of the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house, the sign that is rules that house, the ruler of that sign becomes a functional malefic, which can cause harm. So we don't see any multicona signs in the 6th, 8th, but in the 12th house we have the 4th sign of Cancer, ruled by Moon. So Moon becomes functional malefic, can cause harm, and it's at 24 degrees. It is in its own sign, which is somewhat helpful. But you can see that Moon represents mother, and mother died at a very young age, so he lost support from his mother. I think he was 14 years old. She died of breast cancer. Now, Moon also ruling this house has to do with addiction, spiritual growth, and it afflicts, because it's close. It's most close to the most effective point. It afflicts 7 houses away, the house of health. So it does give some health issues or interest in health. He's a vegan and a proponent of healthy living, and he is in his 70s, and he's still doing pretty well, even considering he has a heart condition. So Moon also represents prison, and he was arrested during a Moon period in Tokyo for possessing marijuana. That was actually during a Rahu period. Rahu also has to do with drugs. Mars is at 9 degrees, and it is weak because it's debilitated. Let's see. Yeah, it's debilitated. It is ruling the house of good fortune and teaching, which he does through his songs, and it is gave him a good fortune through his strong ambition and drive and courage to create new kind of style and music and etc. Now, his second wife, Linda, died during a Mars Venus period, Venus representing wife and Mars representing in this house of separations and endings. So she died in 1998. Mercury is at 25 degrees, and it is also close to the most effective point. And it's really one of his strongest planets. And it is ruling the house of fame and wealth, and gave him lots of fame and wealth. And through his writing and singing, and it blesses. It's blesses because it's close to the most effective point, and the most effective point of every house is 27 degrees. So it is blessing this house of family. He had a nice family, and blessing the house of career, giving good boost to his career. And he was actually knighted in 1997 during a Mercury period. Jupiter is at 8 degrees, and it is ruling this house of education, children, and investments. So gave him some, I think he has 4 children. He's blessed with 4 children. And actually I think his youngest daughter was born in 2003 during a Jupiter period. So Jupiter represents children and is ruling the house of children. So it gave him the ability to educate through others through publishing and as well. Venus is at 25 degrees. It's also close to the most effective point, within 2 degrees. And it is ruling this house of success through entrepreneurial success and performing arts. And so gave him great abilities as a performing artist. Venus also represents wife in a man's chart, and it blesses success to this house of good fortune. It's in the house of good fortune, and it's blessing this house of entrepreneurial success. Now, his Linda died again during a Mars-Venus period. Venus representing wife in a man's chart, and Mars separation. Saturn is at 12 degrees. It's ruling this house of relationships, and it's placed in the house of career. So his career very strong through partnerships with Ringo and Paul and George Harrison. And it is debilitated in the Navamsa. So he had multiple marriages, divorce during a Saturn period, and the breakup of the Beatles in 1970 during a Saturn period as well. If we look more closely during that period of time, natal Saturn was conjunct Moon, which is also this endings, and there was also something going on with K2 and Sun in the 8th house of obstacles and endings and vulnerability during that time as well. The transiting Sun was transiting this house of vulnerability and endings. Rahu and Ketu are at 13 degrees. They're not afflicting any houses, so they're said to be benign, but they are in these houses of relationships, partnerships, and life purpose. So they can create sudden mishaps during certain transits. And if we were to look at remedies to even increase his success even more, we would look at a kavash it's a locket that contains the yantras um, to support or strengthen all of his weak planets, as well as chants and charities to transform Moon, Rahu, and Ketu, which are his functional malefic planets. So thank you again for listening. If you're interested in a reading, you can go to vastucreations.com under services. We have different types of astrology readings. And you can also learn about transformational Vedic astrology at American Institute of Vastu.com.